Om Shri Gurubhyo Paramagurubhyo Sripadananda Tirtha BhagavatpadacharyoBhyo Namo Namaha Narayana Paripurna Gunarnavaya Visvodaya Stititolaya Niyadiprataya Jnana Prataya Vibuddha Surasaukya Dukkha Satkaranaya Vidadaya Namo Namaste Yo Vipralimba Viparita Mati Prabodhan Vadan Rasakatavan Bhuvitatvavadam Sarvesvaro Haririti Pratipatakam Tam Ananda Tirthamunivayam Namami पूज्याय राघवेन्द्राय सत्यधर्मरताय च भजतां कल्पवृक्षाय नमतां कामधेनवे सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Friends, welcome once again to our journey of Kathopanishad. Last week we have seen up to mantra number 2.2.5 and 2.2.6, and as we are proceeding to 2.2.7, basically what we have seen is, the paradox of, because what is the Brahman, and because the relationship between the ultimate power, the God, the world, and as well as the persona of all of us are being, what is the relation? The world, the creator or the created, as well as, the Prakriti which exists through which, the creation takes place. What is the relationship? Because that's what by and large they are trying to explain. In this process, we are also thinking, what is the thought process and all. As we have seen, we should never forget, and because when having assumed the form of human being, which is the highest form possible in the scheme of evolution, we should not allow it to go wasted, because here, we have got the power to think as well as discriminate, as well as find out what is best for us and experience it. And based on the experience, we can live in this world. And we also said that, because nothing can beat your own experience. What you have learned from your experience by experiencing, which is called pratyaksha, anubhava, what you have felt, nothing can replace. That's why, we are also quoted this sort of a famous words of Madhvacharya when he has said, because even if the scriptures say something, but your experience gives rise to certain other conclusion, you better go by your own experience. But then, as you slowly try to validate, and as you slowly try to evolve, you will find, because there will be a sort of a confluence between, what you are experiencing, whatever has been validated, through the scriptures. The scriptures, because why we go for validation through the scripture? The scriptures are the one which is auparushaya. It is not written by one author, like unless any other sort of a religion or any other scheme of things, any other faith, because that is prevalent in the world. We are uniquely sort of a very, very fortunate enough to have been born in this particular part of the world, Jambudvipa, what we call. Here, the entire thoughts have come in the place of highest evolved thought. But when you come to the highest evolved thought, every thought has been validated. And finally, because it has been validated by so many masters. It is not that one person has done it. So when it has come through the series of, the highest thoughts, finally what is possible to be attained by any human being having come into this world and experienced, that is the which is intuitional. It has not come out of the any sort of a construct. Because it is not any sort of, because all these idiosyncrasies of a person and all, they have gone beyond that. They have gone transcendent themselves. What is this transcendence, what we are calling, every time and all, but this is again, it should not be a mystery word, that as if, it is not, no one can know about it, but it's only told in the scriptures, and it is only being heard in various sort of discourses and all. It's not like that. It is, we can experience part of it, in our own life, but we give enough attention to that. So that is what, because finally the scriptures are trying to bring repeatedly, they are trying to give the definition of our experiences, our life, our relationship with the God, and our relationship with the world. They are repeatedly trying to give in very many dimensions, because so that, every possible thought has been analyzed. And we are basically psychological beings. Being a psychological beings, because our psychology works based on our experience. That's why experience is very important. what I'm experiencing here, if I go and say some other culture and some other person, he will try to poo-poo it. He said, look, because we don't have that, we have got something else. For that, because the difference is, because in all other faith, other than ours, other than sort of, other than the Buddhism and Jainism and all other, the attendant disciplines which has come about, in this part of the world, which has emanated from this part of the world, in the Abraham religion and all other religions, the concept of rebirth has never been taken into account. It is not considered because they have tried to find, how the human thought evolves, how the human actions are being conditioned and controlled by the human thought. And then, because how can you take your thought in such a way, you will be able to find so many mysteries, that the world is posing to you every time, because we didn't have any sort of idea about the so many scientific discoveries which has come over a period of time of 20th century and 21st century, even 19th century, because it has been masters, who try to find what the world can offer and what are all those mysteries and they have brought about, so that we do have our knowledge about the world. But whether this world, this particular knowledge is be all and end all of it, is there not something beyond that? This is exactly the question. Even the highest possible, the scientific mind has tried to find out. So this is exactly, if that is something, because you are doing everything right. Let me tell you, because I am quoting the words of Frederico Fegin, one of the very famous scientists, who has tried to find what is consciousness, he's tried to construct a machine to create a consciousness, and then he has realized it's just not possible. Then what he has found out, in his years of experience, he's the one who's the inventor of the random access memory. I think even the computers have come about because of the random access memory and the chips he invented in way back in the 70s. And then he's the one finally invented this touch screen which we are using every day on and off in our mobile phones. When he has come to that, he says, because you will not be able to replace something called consciousness, by any of the worldly process or scientific process, whatever invention you make it, because you will not be able to convert the electrical signals into feelings and, the all other qualities which you experience as love, compassion, anger, and other things. You will not be able to convert it. How will you be able to convert this? Qualia, what is that? All this, the neuroscientists are calling the qualia. That qualia you will not be able to create out of the signals, biosignals and electrical signals. It is a process unique because that signal is created even in the animals. They are also creation of the God. And now we are going to see, because what is creation and how it is being described and all. Because in other religions, they have not considered as the concept of rebirth. Whatever happens in this world. That is be all and end all. If you are going to get a redemption and if you are going to go to heaven, that is going to happen in this world. If you are not going to get the redemption, you are going to the hell, and because you will be condemned for life, that's a condemned forever, that will also happen in this birth, because that's what it is. That means there is no chance to evolution. But we have our entire, because this what we call as Sanatana Dharma, or in our own, because the way of life, because which is being followed by, because all Jainism and even Buddhism also considers the rebirth and all when it happens and all. This considered the greatest concept of, because you are existing ever. Only the body is the form. Body is the container holding the life force. How you got this body? How you have come into this? Because those things have been gone into. It is not that they have simply been propounded a theory and stopped at that. Rebirth is not a concocted concept, because that has been only propounded, just to establish a philosophy or not like that. It is that has been gone through. It is experienced. It has also been proven time and again, by various masters, not only through their experience and the experience of the so many people who have undergone, because trying to find the meaning, as well as how these experiences have meant in different parts of the time and different parts of the era, and how it has shaped the human culture and society. It is not only, because what we are talking, in the vacuum, it is some day-to-day experience of ours have been brought into the scriptural knowledge. That's why it is more, because sometimes the people say Hinduism, the way of life. Does it mean, other religions are not way of life? They are also way of life, because they have also got a way to live. It is the constant thread, how a life can be lived through all through, because whenever you come into this world in whatever form, therefore, what it happens is once you know this concept, you consider every creation to be equal in the in the design of the God. The divine law of equality spreads across whether it is movable, immovable, perishable, everything and all, because they are all coming into this. So this is going to be established, because in the following, because mantra which we are going to see. Last week, we have seen the mantra which is in the page number 108, where we have said Asya Visramana, where we have said that Hanta 110 is the page. Hantata idam pravachyami guhyam brahma sanatana. Well, now I explained to this mysterious as ancient truth about the Brahman. Mysterious because time immemorial, because that life force, the creation, the entire, because even now, because the latest they have found they through the most powerful telescope and powerful camera that has taken, because they have found few more galaxies. This is about couple of days before. So you will not be able to put, because there are only so many galaxies. You will not be able to limit the unlimited. Why it is unlimited? It is growing every time you find a discovery, because maybe 10 years hence or 5 years hence, even 10 months hence, there will be a discovery which will prove, what you are having, the present information is invalid. That is something much more than that. How this concept has been used. That is why the word Brahman has been used. The root word for Brahman is Bru. Bru is ever expanding. Whatever you find into the human concept, by applying the human concept of human logic, every time you will find what is there is because it is growing multiples, there are so many things. That means there is one who has got the who has created this order, and he is the one who is ever growing as you try to know him. Once you are trying to find who is the highest life power, what I am having, based on my capacity of the knowledge, my capacity of the comprehension, I will be able to get a particular figure. Because you may be, going to the temple and you are a devotee, and your figure will be sort of configured, in the form of deity whom you are worshipping and who are doing. As you grow, it is beyond that and all. It is because it is a sort of symbolic, and but then because the symbol is necessary for you to focus and try to think in these terms. Why I have to think all these things? Am I not eating? Am I not sleeping? Am I not getting the pleasures of the world? Am I not getting whatever is available in this world? Why the hell I should do all these things? What is that? Because Brahman or Amrtatvam, and because the heaven and health and all these things, why it is required and all? Not required. Not certainly not required. As long as you are able to accept whatever comes to you. Because you think you have got the power to change everything. You have got the free will. As long as you are able to accept everything, because accept every action, take responsibility of your every action, then it is okay. Are you able to do it? That is the question. That is the $1,000,000 question, because we are not able to, because we only try to do the things, but we expect the best. But if it doesn't come, because I have done everything, but nothing has not come to that, because we don't find, because what is the things we could have done better. That's why we say experience is not what happens to us, what we learn from what happens is the experience. That is exactly, because this Upanishad is trying to find, it is every day you are evolving, every minute you are evolving. What you have thought, because the new information has come, you got your behavioral changes takes place, your attitude changes take place. Then you evolve further into that. This continuous evolution is considered to be the most important thing in our entire Sanatana Dhamma, which has been highlighted through the series of mantra which we have gone, because that is going to help us. Not only that help us, we will find, and we will also say, because when we say Sanatanam, because it's ever, always there and all. That means, you should not always be considered, because my past was like this, my future, I don't know how it is going to be, my present is this much. That doesn't, will not have any meaning, because that we have created till this moment, previous moment, whatever has happened become a past. And what I am doing is the present. Perhaps, because after a few minutes away, because it's going to be the future. But am I going to be bothered about, say, when I am doing the things? You just don't have to. That is what it says. Don't bother about it. It is a non-linear, continuous happening. But you have created a boundary around that and created the value of time and space. Because that once you see the relativity theory, or because the quantum theory, the past and present and future, all these merge into seamlessly into something. And when the scripture says you have existed earlier and you have existed now, you are existing now and you are going to be existing for time immemorial, that means you don't have any past, present, and future, but only you got the body and your experiences by which you are conditioning yourself. This is happening to me. Am I to because to be blamed and all? So we will also see some of the live instances that has happened. How people are trying to find meaning, because as per their own way of thinking, and how because it leads to them to wrong conclusion, which we don't have to, because the Upanishad clarifies so well. So in the mantra 2.2.7, which is in your page 111, the mantra says yonimanye prabhadyante sharirattvaya dehinaha. Yonimanye prabhadyante, because when we take the form of a body or something like that, assuming this is what happens, after the soul leaves the body. A soul leaves the body, what happens? The body is perishable, we know it will disintegrate into five elements: earth to earth, dust to dust, ashes to ashes. The soul, what is we call soul? The soul is the bundle of experiences, bundle of knowledge we have gathered till, because the moment, the body has been given up, they never get lost. They are the treasure trove. And the treasure trove, because as per our own philosophy, because you say, because once you have attained, then you've got nothing, to be, no more experiences available to you, and you have evolved to the highest extent. Because our philosophy says either you get merged or you are in the divine blessings of the world, because you have gone to Vaikuntha or Kailasha and all, you are in the benign blessings of the God is available to you, you are living. That is what, we are seeing. What does it mean? Means the persona what we have created, the personality what we have created, and the thought process what we have created, all those things are finally bundled into sort of a treasure trove. And it not only that, it is also the phoenix. When you do something, you may be a great scholar, you may be telling about all Upanishads, all the scriptures to everyone. But if you are not imbibed those qualities, when you have not brought it into your attitudes, when you are not able to give the same love and compassion to others, and when you are not able to live, and then, because you are not swayed by, either the ecstasy, or you are not deeply distressed down in the dumps, because when something happens, when you are able to maintain what we call the Sthita Prajna and all, because the great concept, as in Gita, when we try to say, these are all not, because once you have the mental attitude, the mindset that is created, we are towards the mindset. The mindset is not only thought coherence as well as emotional coherence. The mindset is a combination of both. It is not only the thoughts, you have got on only get all the best thoughts, but your intention also has to be very clear. Your intention will be sort of a positive only when you have the feelings. See, when you do something good to some persons out of compassion, when you heartfelt feeling, when you have, look, because if I were, in this, you consider if I were in this position, if someone would have gone, how happy I would have got. Same thing, let me give it to him, let him give it, let him get that. When you do that, because you take out the I have to do, because by seeing that heartfelt, I will have to do, because I have got the wherewithal to do, I have got the resources to help, let me do it. That's all. But whenever you are journaling, because assuming, you are you are assuming, you are writing all your experiences. I felt that, because it happened to me, someone did it to me, Someone, I did something to, I said someone something, because he felt, he reacted like that. When you go on doing, if you journal everything and all, you take out the I and he, in all these things. You see it from the third person. And if you are able to see yourself as a third person, that is the highest quality. It happened to me, not it happened. It would have happened to anyone else. Why to me? Supposing if I am hurt by some action, because someone has taken away, because my years of work or my sort of belongings or, my accumulated, because someone has tried to represent, my sort of sayings in some other way and all. Why should it? Because, okay, our job is to do what we do. If someone else takes it, it is for him to face the fact. But you can't leave it that when you find a orderly, if there is an injustice in the scheme of things when the society, you should not be able to give it up. You should fight for that. But at the same time, don't have any ill will. Don't have any grudge. Ungrudgingly you fight. Because the person, based on his mindset, whatever he has done, he has done. If I am thinking how the hell it can happen, because what is happening is I am also trying to spoil my own mindset. But I have so evolved, but at the same time, I'm not going to give it up, because I will go through the process of establishing my things. This is exactly what they say. In this process, because what they say, how, because why we want all this thought process, why with them? He says, this is what this mantra is very important. Based on your mindset, based on your, because when you are able to get this type of a mindset without any grudge, without accepting whatever comes, as well as fight for, because if there is an injustice, not that you will not be lying low and sitting idle, you will fight for that. At the same time, because you will not be able to, you will not be taking any sort of unwanted things. You will go within the scheme of things, legal things, whatever the accepted norms, ethically, whatever has to be done, you will be doing it. Once you do that and all, then, because nothing, because you are getting the highest component of evolution in this process, and you get the benefit of this life for which you have taken this birth. Yoni manye prabadante sharirattvaya dehinah. What they say, entering a human womb, some embodied souls are destined to have a body. What type of, when you are having a body, what is that? Body, mind, and intellect. Because, the mind comes from treasure trove, because which you carried, it will come. And the body will experience, with this and all. Finally, this body, mind, and intellect will further evolve, you are already evolved and all. This is where, because why I will just quote with one example, because live example, what has happened, because how people are trying to interpret and all. For instance, now there was the air crash that has taken place in Ahmedabad. And people are trying to find, because, okay, if, you see, materially, because there is a fault with the aircraft, no one has maintained it properly, or, because it has been maintained, but they have sort of overlooked some of the most important salient things that has happened. It will all come out after the expert report. Even the expert report, also depending upon who is doing the expertise, who are all the expertise available. It could also be doctored. We don't know. But finally, what is supposed to be the expert report will be published. Then, the question happens, why it should happen for the 240 and 50 people, because what, what is the sin they have committed? Why it should happen? The question philosophical. See, one is the material, what is happening in the world, and where, because the lack of, because the skill, or lack of sort of the practices, which is sort of, the compromised practices, that has gone into the equipment failure. And the person who has been piloting is the, perhaps, he has got the highest number of hours, in his, to his credit. He could not have, because after all, he could have managed whatever situation, because he has got that much higher number of hours, more than 8,000 and odd is something phenomenal. No one can, because such a pilot, he would have done everything in his command to do that. Then why it had happened? Is that, because all of them are destined, because their karma has come to this and all? Well, I think, because this, if you happen, because it's like the soul, when, the time comes, when it has to, perhaps, it has to take a better version of themselves, the time might have come. Is it that, for all the 250 people, barring one, who has walked through, I think by miracle, because the God's miracle, is it that, because that, well, it could be that, because not only that, because as long as the soul is, as we consider it to be ever existing, and the body is the one, which has to go about it, it has gone in such unexpected circumstances for everyone was going for a great purpose. Someone was going to attend to meet his daughter, and someone was going to attend a convocation, someone was going to see the, sort of attend to the health of someone close relative, someone was going for some sort of the opportunities which is available there. So many people have gone for so many great purposes which they have worked for life all these through. Is it that, or all if there is a God, okay, has he not but the same God who is there in the persons of the maintenance personnel, who is there in the maintenance of the manufacturers, who would have, because on and off, because the persons who are involved in they would have also, because should have done the duty and everything. But it all depends upon, because because the intention which they have done, because it's not full. It is not, because to the brim, they wanted to give the excellence, to the process for which they have committed. Mainly because, once you do in the material world, because you love to go through, the process of, the materially how you are able to get more. In that process, that would have been compromised also. Or there could have been, some people say, the tailwind was sort of a reversing the entire thing and all. That could have also been, that could is a climate change. And even if it is a climate change, it's a man-made. All these things are there. When it is there, because we can't, say why it has happened. How it has happened, because finally in the black box report, when it will come, because that will know materially what is this and all. But when we pray and when we pray for those souls, because who have all, because come to this entire thing and all, we wish them, because let them get the best, because perhaps, their soul contract to be in this form of the body, has ended at that point of time. As Yudhishthira, because the Prashna, the Prashna, Yasha Prashna, which is coming in Mahabharata, it can happen anytime to anybody, anytime and all. It has happened all of a sudden and it is focused, because now we are able to see everything, because the news is spreading and as such, it is most unwanted. It is one of few accidents have taken place, this way and all. We can't explain that. We can't, sort of take anything lightly and all. We will have to go through the process and find out. We will be able to only find out, because how we can prevent it future as well as how we try to, because only the 250 persons, we can't give a philosophical sort of a interpretation. They're all, because their karma was like this and all. It's not that, because it happened, because the cessation when it has to take place, because to the body or any form, that will take place. But doesn't mean, because all of them, may be destined for a much better, because Sadgati and, perhaps, because all those things are awaiting them. So this is only, we'll have to take from this point of this mindset, because when you're there and if you are bringing, if there is a God, why he could not have prevented that and all. What God can, God always gives you the energy and to everyone, and He gives the energy, and it is our vasanas in our own the sattva and rajasa and tamasa gunas, by which we are giving our excellence to the world. Because if we are found, wanting in any of those things, if we are not able to give, these things can happen. If the whole world is, is focusing on giving, karmanyeva adhikarasya, you give, don't expect anything and all. The pilot, he must have given his best. But despite that, he couldn't do. And we can't be responsible for them. Assuming tomorrow, even if they say it's a pilot error, and you cannot blame the pilot. He has got so much of a credit to him and he has done everything, because maybe he would have done everything in his command. He done with the intention, he never he wanted to save everyone and all. That intention is very important. In fact, because there is no question of anything, accumulating to the pilot or anyone, who is involved in this. Because they have all given up their life. Not only that, they have tried to do everything within them. And those souls, who have departed, they have also not, nothing to do with the karma and all. They have done everything and all. It is that the time, because the soul contract or whatever is there, because there's perhaps, it is a time for them to get a sort of a better evolution and a better this thing. That is how, because perhaps it might have happened. That is the explanation we can give. And other than that, even assuming, because these things are happening, because once in a while it is happening in the sense, it is something most unwanted. It is because of our own creation, even the airport, the structure, they are talking about so many things. These are all man-made. But if every one of us could give our best, to this world, you just find out how the world would have been if everything is perfect. We will be able to give perfect when there is no I and me, because what am I going to get, because the transactional value is not there, then only it will be the best. Unfortunately, because that is not happening. That's why it is scriptures are trying to get so that, even these things can be avoided, these things can be eliminated, because the process can go on. Of course, the natural calamity comes, what you can do, you cannot do, because natural calamity, again, we are the responsible for that, because when the tsunami comes or so many things comes, because it's not in our hands. So this is when it says, depending upon, your mindset, because which is your mental coherence and the brain coherence, what you are having, they based on that, you are taking the new birth. That's what it is. Supposing at the last minute, because if you are, perhaps, you are always thinking of, how to make, at the cost of someone else and all, because then you will be a Shylock in the next birth. And, because then, if you are trying to be a helpful and then because you want to do, because perhaps you want to create, such an atmosphere where you want to take, all the needy and the disadvantaged, and you might become another Mother Teresa in the next birth. See, all those things can happen. So, and again, because depending upon the thought, if we have got such a sort of a blackish thought, because the negative thought, is pervading me all through and all, then it says, you could even become a plant, you can become a mineral, you could finally be transformed, metamorphosed into mineral. You metamorphosed into plant, you metamorphosed into animal. Because in our scriptures, we are having 84 lakh species, because we could have taken anything, worm to sort of the biggest, the dinosaurs, because there are so many species are there, we could have taken anything out of that based on depending upon the evolution. That is why, because the mindset, which is there, which is the thought coherence and the heart coherence, when the feelings and the intent and the thought, because all of them do, you give your best, don't bother about it. Nothing will accumulate you. Nothing will not accumulate to, because the person who has done with the good intention, the pilot, even if it is blamed by the report, nothing will accumulate to him. He must have done his best. And because the passengers could have also done their best, because based on the circumstances in there, so nothing, you are doing with the, at that point of time, nothing is in your hand. You are only doing it and all. But in the earth, when you have got so many options, when you are finding it out, if you develop the mindset, and if a better percentage of human beings are having this mindset, the world would be a wonderful place to live in. And that's why it says, because based on the mindset at the end, because then you take the birth in the form, in which, because we have got in Sanatana Dharma, because there is one Raja Bharata was there, because he was a very good king, because there are so many Bharatas. This Bharata is Jada Bharata, he is called. So when he was seeing, one deer, when he was trying to sort of escape from a tiger, it jumped into the river. It's a pregnant tiger, a pregnant deer, and it also delivered the baby in the flowing water. And he just couldn't stand its sight, and because then he couldn't save the deer, and because he picked up the baby, deer and all. Then he tried to bring it up, and he saved it and brought it. He put all his attention onto the deer and all. Though he is a king, he has got other responsibilities as well. Since he has put everything and all, he is supposed to have taken the birth of a deer in the next birth. But such a good deer, and he was in the pious circumstances of the sages and the saints. And of course, he was supposed to have again got the birth of a great king and all. Then that's what, the scriptures say. So likewise, because based on the mindset, even the Gita, because we'll be quoting some of the Gita verses the next week. and especially in the eighth chapter, where it is coming and all. So what you think at that point of time, you take that shape. And that shape, mainly because, because once your mindset, the thought coherence and brain coherence and heart coherence is together, because of the proper intention, nothing is, you are going to be evolved to such an extent, perhaps, in few births, and like Buddha, if he has taken 17 births to redeem, and I think you would have taken few more births, and then you will get the redemption. In the sense, because you don't have any more birth. What is this birth and death? It's a binary. If there is a birth, there will be a death. There cannot be any. In the binary, like the binary 0 and 1. If it is 0, off. 1 is on. This is the position in which the computer chips are being developed. 3-bit computer, 4-bit computers, and we used to have 4-bit computer, 8-bit, now 32-bit, 64-bit, and all. When it is there, it is in the bits of information that is coming about, because there is always on and off. The birth, because that is happening, that is to any form you take, because there will be a, that is beautifully quoted in Gita also, that we can see it is also in the Upanishad it is coming. So it is things tanam anye anusamyanti, in the sense, because if your mindset is such, because you are not evolved so much, you may take the form of a plant, you may take the form of minerals, you may take the form of animals and all. Yata karma yata shruta. Because, yata, whatever the knowledge and whatever the karmas or whatever the benefits of an action you have taken, because the feelings you have generated towards the other beings and the thought you have developed, towards performing your duty in this world, you will be taking that and all. It is basically to have a mindset, wholesome mindset. Then, because not only that, for you to wade through the world, just like, a knife in the butter, you don't have to bother, because whether there is this and all, there will be some sort of, you will not be, because bothered about anything and all, and, because why we are bothered, how it happens, why the scripture says, we will see it in the next session. And now I will try to conclude my session. Before that, if you have any couple of queries, because this is a sort of a very provocative mantra, and the next one is going to be still more provocative before we go to the next part of the second adhyaya. So we can go for that. And if you have any doubts whatsoever, because, or if you want to discuss something like that, you can just say, because we have got a couple of minutes left.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you.
Yes.
Okay, actually, my internet is down. That's why I'm on the phone.
Oh, sure. I'm able to hear your voice here.
Okay, so, thank you. When some calamities happen, like that's since you brought up about the Air India crash.
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, when natural calamities happen, that means, I'm not saying the word karma, but then the lives of so many is impacted. So somewhere all their fates are linked. Am I making sense in the way I'm framing the question? So how or why does this happen? In fact, I'm saying effectively, it's like collective consciousness demands some natural calamities. Aise ho raha hai. Is that true?
Absolutely, madam, because this question, it will arise to any natural mind, because these things, why? Because when you say something, when we see all these things, you might be wondering in the same time, somewhere, other parts of the world, in Sudan and South Sudan and other things, in some other part, the people are still dying of starvation. Forget about basic necessities of the life is not available. And you see, though, the war between the Israel and Iran, and of course it's a man-made crisis, and Ukraine and Russia, and because even other parts of the world, these skirmishes are taking place. And there also, you find a lot of things, because are they, because what is that, because what is the wrong they have done? See, supposing we have got UN, United Nations is supposed to be a body, which is take care of the all the countries, part of it, and they are also trying to do. But now, because all other countries who are capable of contributing, because now they have tried to bring down. After all, even they have the resources, they don't want to give it, because they don't get it, because now, that's also there. But normally we are not bothered about it, because it's not brought to our notice. nor we are in this part of the world, because since we have got our own issues to deal with, we see this. The similar things are happening elsewhere. So if you say this is, if it is the only thing that has happened in the entire world, certainly, because it is also unfortunate, it should not have happened anywhere. Why? Even in Africa, there is a plane crash, it should not have been. Here it has happened,
So,
because things have come, lot of discussion that is taking place and all. Likewise, there are silently so many people, even in our own country, in colony of Orissa. And way back, if you have seen, in one particular village, despite the fact, even after more than 25, 30 years of independence, we couldn't, afford a sort of a two-time meals to those people. People were trying, dying of starvation. The food, the food revolution and all, because all afterwards only, because it was started on a war footing, this and that and all. Even Kalindi is considered to be in our own part of the country, because and these things, we got concerned because then only it was brought to our notice. Whereas somewhere else, if you see the cities and other things, the amount of food what we are wasting, and
yeah.
amount of, because food we are ordering, because and nowadays, with the Zomato and all those things, it is all available to this. The mindset when we take about only what we need, because we